Hi, I'm Roxy Keller, and welcome to Baking with Roxy. Today I'm doing another special bake, and the bake that I'm doing today is a Cinnamon Swirl Cheesecake. Now, again, it's not part of the Great British Baking Show challenges. Rather, this is from a website called Sally's Baking Addiction, which you may have heard of. She has a lot of followers because she has a lot of amazing recipes. I've used several of her cake and pie and cookie and all kinds of recipes from her website. And each month she has a giveaway of a $250 Amazon gift card. And all you have to do is bake the suggested bake of that month, post a picture, and you'll be in the drawing for the giveaway. So obviously that would be great to win that, but this cheesecake just looked so amazing that I had to give it a try. So let's go. The cheesecake will be made in a 9 or 10-inch springform pan, and this one is a 9-inch. I am going to put together the ingredients for the graham cracker crust, and then that will be baked for 10 minutes. Then while that is baking, I'll make the cream cheese filling. So it starts with 180 grams of graham cracker crumbs, and I have full graham crackers, so I need to process them in my food processor. 180 grams, she says, is about 12 full sheets of graham crackers. That's 9. That's 12 graham crackers, or 180 grams. So again, I'm going to process these until they make fine crumbs. Once these are crushed, I need to blend in some sugar and melted butter. So I'm going to go ahead and weigh out 71 grams of butter and melt that while this is grinding. Well, that didn't take any time at all. 20 seconds. 5 tablespoons or 71 grams of butter. I'm using salted. In a medium bowl, I'll put the graham cracker crumbs, 180 grams of graham cracker crumbs, a quarter cup or 50 grams of white granulated sugar. Whisk those together, and I'll add the melted butter. Now I'll press the graham cracker butter sugar mixture into the bottom of the springform pan, and it's not pre-greased or anything. She says to just press it down with your hand and not press it down too tight, because then it'll just make the crust too hard and brittle. She also says you could use the bottom of a measuring cup, which is what I think I'm going to do. It's supposed to go slightly up the sides as well. Okay, now I'll bake this in the preheated oven, preheated to 350 degrees for 10 minutes. To make the filling, I need to start by beating the cream cheese with the sugar until it's creamy, and you can use a hand mixer. I'm going to use my stand mixer, and it calls for 32 ounces or 904 grams of cream cheese. That's 4 bricks of Philadelphia cream cheese, and the cream cheese should be at room temperature. To the cream cheese, I'll add 1 cup of sugar or 200 grams. Now I'll mix this with the paddle attachment until creamy. That's creamy. So now I'm going to add sour cream, and it should be 3/4 cup of full fat sour cream, which is 180 grams. And that also needs to be at room temperature. So I weighed this out earlier and set it out. The crust is finished baking, so it can sit there and cool a bit while we finish the filling. Along with the sour cream, I need 1½ teaspoons of vanilla. I'll just add 2. Beat until fully combined. Now I need to add 3 room temperature eggs. 3 eggs, I'll add them one at a time as I mix. Okay, we don't want to overmix this, so as soon as everything's incorporated, we want to stop. Apparently, overmixing can cause your cheesecake to deflate in the oven, so don't want that. Now to make the cinnamon swirl, I start with 3/4 cup or 150 grams of either light or dark brown sugar. I have dark. 150 grams of dark brown sugar. 1/2 cup or 60 grams of all-purpose flour. 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, weighs about 7 grams. Whisk that together. To that, I need to add 5 tablespoons or 71 grams of melted butter. So I'll weigh them out in this bowl and then melt them in the microwave. Adding the melted butter to the cinnamon swirl mix. Stir that. When baking a cheesecake, you need to have steam in the oven so that the filling will rise and not collapse. So you can wrap your springform pan with aluminum foil and then set this inside a large roasting pan, then add about 1 inch of boiling water after you put it in the oven. I actually don't have a roasting pan large enough, so the other way you can do it, and I think this is the way that Sally recommends, is to have a pan like a 9x13 pan that has about 1 inch of boiling water in it, and then place that on the rack below where you have your cake. So that's what I'm going to do. I have this 9x13 cake pan, and she says not to use glass, so I'm going to boil some water that can go in here. Now to assemble the filling, I start with about 1/3 of the filling I'm going to pour into the pan, and that doesn't have to be exact. On top of that, I'll put about 1/2 of the cinnamon mixture. Just sprinkle that on. Now pour on another 1/3, and you might be able to see that my graham cracker crust doesn't go all the way to the top. That's fine. It's supposed to have a bit of the graham cracker crust and a bit of the cheesecake filling. Spread that around. My water is boiling, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on the bottom rack, fill it about 1 inch with water and then close the oven so it can make sure it's nice and hot when I'm ready to put this in. Now I'll put all but a couple of tablespoons full of the cinnamon swirl. I'm supposed to leave a couple of tablespoons that you can put on the top. Now I'll add the rest of the cheesecake filling. Now the rest of this mixture goes on top. The last thing to do before putting it in the oven is to swirl this around, and that will help the cinnamon get through all the layers. She just says swirl any way you like. She doesn't really say how much or anything. All right, let's put it in the oven. Okay, now the water bath is already in the oven, and the oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This goes in the oven for, she says, 65 to 85 minutes, and potentially it could take longer. So it's done when the edges are set and the center is still slightly wobbly. Hopefully I'll be able to tell if that's the case. So I guess I'll check it after about an hour. Going into the oven. Okay, so I set the timer for an hour, and when I checked it, I jostled it, and it was still seemed pretty liquidy. It seemed like the sides were set, but I just couldn't be sure. So I asked Alexa, how do you know if a cheesecake is done? And it came back with a website that said you can use an instant read thermometer to measure the temperature, and it said if it was 150 degrees Fahrenheit, then it was done. And the other way was if the edges were set and only the middle 2 inches was wiggly. I don't even know how you can tell that. Because pretty much it was all set, but then it was all wiggly. So I don't know. Anyway, so after 60 minutes, it was about 145 degrees. So I put it in for another 5 minutes, or I set the timer for another 5 minutes, checked it again, and it was about 155. So I considered it done. I turned off the oven and then opened the oven about that much and let it cool slowly. It has been about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, and the oven is completely cool. This I can pick up, but it's still warm, and it's definitely done in the middle. It's quite brown on top, but I don't know, maybe that's okay. The instructions now say to put it in the refrigerator overnight so that it can chill completely, and I'll do that after it's not still this warm. So it'll probably take another couple of hours. Then I'll put it in the refrigerator overnight. Then I'll be able to taste it in the morning. So cinnamon swirl cheesecake for breakfast. The cheesecake has been in the refrigerator overnight, so now it's time to make the whipped cream that goes on top. That includes heavy whipping cream, vanilla, and brown sugar. So I'll start with the heavy whipping cream. 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream, 2 tablespoons of dark brown sugar, and a teaspoon of vanilla. Now I'll mix this on the stand mixer with the whisk attachment for about 3 to 4 minutes until it reaches medium peaks. Stirring it halfway through, I found lots of brown sugar on the bottom, so make sure you scrape your bowl. Okay, here's the cheesecake, and I need to take a sharp knife and go around the edge, and then I'll remove the spring form ring. Here goes. Okay, now I can just dollop some of this whipped cream on top. Spread it with an offset spatula. That's just a little over half of the whipping cream. You can put it all on there like that, or you can pipe some decoration. I'm using a number 21 Wilton star tip. Well, I've got a lot left, so I'm just going to do the whole thing. I'm not used to the whipping cream having kind of a beige color. I think that's because of the brown sugar. But I also might have over whipped the whipped cream a little bit. That's okay, it still tastes good. Now just for final decoration, I'm going to put a little bit of cinnamon on top. And there we go. I'm going to take a couple of pictures and then we'll give it a taste. Hi.
Start.
Husband Chauncey.
Hello, world.
So this is Cinnamon Swirl Cheesecake.
It smells delicious.
Let's see. Didn't know how well it would cut coming right out of the refrigerator, but
If it's cut, it should be. Ooh, that looks good.
right.
Really good.
Let me try more. Maybe this thing needs to be a little longer too.
Yeah.
Trying to get a good picture, a good piece for the picture. All right, photos are taken. Give it a try.
We'll give it a taste. What are the flavors here? What's
Cinnamon,
cinnamon?
just cinnamon swirl and brown sugar.
Oh, very good. Icing very light and airy. Almost like a whipped cream icing.
That's what it is.
Is it whipped cream? Well, not correct. very good. I'm going to eat this whole thing.
Well, breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Mm-hmm.
There's protein in here from an egg. And cream cheese. There's milk proteins.
So there might be 8 grams of protein.
Oh, probably not that much. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Was it a big egg?
Okay.
All right.
You can.
It's delicious.
Thanks.
I'll let you finish it.
Okay.
Right now.
You can take it with you.
Thanks. Very good.
Okay, so that's the end of this episode. I've taken my photo and I'll post that on Sally's Baking Addiction website. So thanks for the recipe. I enjoyed making it, and I really haven't made too many cheesecakes in my life. So this was good, fun education, and it's easier than a lot of the things I've been baking lately, and it's delicious. So I'm excited to do it again. And for my next episode, hopefully I will be doing the Showstopper Challenge for week 9 of the Great British Baking Show season 2017, which is a meringue structure. I have an idea of what I want to do for my structure, but I need a little booth so I can do a little bit of airbrushing. So tune in and see how it goes. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.